Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here with my colleagues in this electoral space, or I normally say the brothers in crime, or the brothers in good deeds. I'm here with the chairman of PPRC. I'm also here with the national coordinator of Office of National Security. They are both here to provide updates or information to the public concerning yesterday's activities. I hope all of us rested well, because yesterday we had SAFU elections, and I want to extend special appreciation to political party supporters, Sierra Leoneans, our international partners, and local partners who supported the process. People are saying, if not the best, but it's one of the best election day in Sierra Leone over the period. And that is in line with the promise we made to this country when I assumed office, that I want to supervise an election where our children will be going to school and ordinary people will be going about their normal businesses. And yesterday there was no ban on the vehicular movement. It means people were free to move about their normal issues. So I'm here to give an update or provide further information to what we presented yesterday. Let me again repeat that voting took place yesterday in all polling stations nationwide. In some polling stations where polls did not open on time, voting continued beyond 5 p.m., ensuring that all those in queue voted. At polling center code number 16148 St. Anne's School, for instance, voting went on till 11:30 p.m. and counting was done in the presence of political party agents and observers. Similarly, at polling center code 16140 Amaria School, polling continued till the presence of political party agents and observers. Despite the attacks on our staff, and despite the fear or threats given to us, we ensure that everybody that show up to our center given the opportunity to vote. And I especially want to thank the security sector for their professional approach to all the agitations which were, in some areas, were evident. They were able to pacify voters and Sierra Leoneans to stay in the queue and went through the process. As we speak, the RRF form, that is the result reconciliation forms, are being received at our district offices. Some of the result reconciliation forms earlier received have been taken to the respective regional tally centers for processing. The rest will be transported to the regional tally centers in the next few hours. In other words, we have received some result reconciliation forms at our centers, and the tally of results has commenced. Counting of early voting ballots, this is related to the pilgrims, did not take place in the Western Urban, Western Rural, and Bombali districts due to violence and high level of tension. In Western Rural, a Delta police officer stationed at center code number 15012, REC Primary School, Waterloo, prevented the counting of early voting. This caused huge tension, and ECSL Assistant Director had to be whisked away by the commanding officer at Tumbo Police Station. The Commission will make decision on the next step in line with this. We had indicated that we were going to count the early vote ballots at specific centers in the district where the voting took place. And therefore, the intention was to take these ballot boxes to that center to be mixed with others so that we count there. But this particular police officer created an impression that the ballot boxes were kind of had issues, or we are trying to stuff ballots, and that led supporters of political parties to raise tension, and we did not count these ballots in these specific areas. Tally had commenced in all regional tally centers since this morning. It actually started about 10 o'clock, and it is going on peacefully. In addition to the election information, this information relating to the polls and the tallying process, let me also remind or inform the public that, as we promised, the tallying, the physical results are being used to do the tally at the districts, at the regional centers. Even though we had used our app to transmit results, but we promised that we were going to use the physical results. And we have all political parties at our respective regional tally centers, despite some level of threats in some parts, like in Poloko and in Bombali. But security have been alerted about the incident. The other issues I want to report to the public: in Bombali district, elections coordinator Abdullah Jallo was beaten along Mabroka Road in Makeni. Also in Bombali, Hassan Karim, office assistant at our office in Bombali, was beaten and seriously injured on his way to deliver supplementary ballots to a polling station that was running low on ballots. Ballot papers were retrieved intact. At polling station code 10271, RC Primary School, Mbesene in Lunsa, Poloko District, a presiding officer was beaten for simply carrying out his duty. Also in Lunsa, Poloko District, two election coordinators, Umfa AS Bangura and Alex Suri, were also beaten with one of their rented vehicles with number AP A731 vandalized. Again in Poloko, a female election coordinator, Marcia Tukonte, was also beaten and she sustained serious injuries at Kagbantama. 6058 DC Primary School, also in Kwenadugu District, serious fighting took place which led to the burning of a hire motorbike. This fighting initially disrupted the counting, save for the prompt intervention of the RSLAF that ensure counting continue. Again, in Kwenadugu District at 6087 Center, DC Primary School, Kamukalia, our staff were attacked and parliamentary ballot box broken, not destroyed, or simply they were doing their official responsibilities. The polling center manager at 7082 Baptist Primary School in Mabroka, Tonkolili District, who was incidentally the headmaster of the school, James Bobo Fuller, was seriously manhandled on false allegation of ballot stuffing. I think some of us saw some of these social media posting of an elderly man with blood oozing from his chest. That's the man. He's the school headmaster, and he was beaten. He was rescued by the police. His video is making round on social media. Also in Tonkolili district at Bendugu, Sambaya Bendugu Chiefdom, youth pour fear on election coordinator Ibrahim wanting to set him ablaze. He was rescued by the community elders. So these are the sacrifices the commissioners and staff went through, or the pains we went through in order to deliver our national service. And no politician will talk about those incidents. Instead, they will create fake videos and purported our staff are being involved in malpractices. But these are the realities of elections, so we are used to it. The most important thing is we stood our ground and ensured that the election was fair. And we are happy from comments from international partners. At least we have passed this test and will continue to pass the remaining tests of this journey. Thank you. I now call on my colleague, Chairman PPRC, to come and give an update. Thank you.
Still. The PPRC, we have been working 24 hours around the clock to ensure that we create the enabling environment that we had yesterday for the conduct of the polls. And yesterday we all saw that by way of a preliminary statement from us, our observation, because on polling day we also become observers. We actually do not have anything to do officially other than to observe the polls. So we are in an observer status, and as I said preliminarily, we are satisfied that the elections were generally very peaceful. After I cast my votes in Freetown, I went to the provinces, that's from Makeni down to Bo and Kenema, to see what was happening there. I only came back this morning. And all of the places I went to, the electorates were very comforting. And the turnout, in our opinion, was very impressive. I mean, it's outside our mandate to talk about percentage, but the lines we saw are indicative of the fact that people were determined for their voices to be heard. And so they came out in their numbers and they exercised their franchise. So we think that it was very impressive. And even the weather was very clement. All of where I went, I mean, there was no rain. The people were there, the place was sandy, so even nature was supporting these elections. And our people came out without being subjected to any rains. This is we all know it's the rainy season. Some of us, we are fearful that let there be a very good weather for the polls so that our people will have the opportunity. And as a commission, we know that the people have spoken. And all of us are now waiting to hear the verdict of the people through their mouthpiece, their statutory mouthpiece, who is the National Returning Officer. And from all of what we have done before now, all of the engagement we've had with our own partners, who are the political parties, very critical in the electoral process, we are very much expectant that when the results will come out, people will accept the results and respect the voice of the people. All of them were jostling for the people's mandate. So if any of them is opportune to have that mandate, we'll expect that those who may not be opportune to also show some respect to the people, to accept the verdicts they have given. And we will continue to remind all of those participating in this election, particularly the presidential candidates, of the Peace Pledge they signed, which was something that was undertaken by the Peace Pledge Committee through support from the Commonwealth. And in that Peace Pledge, they all committed to respect the electoral laws and to accept the outcomes. If anybody will have issue, either with the conduct or the outcome of these elections, all also committed in that document that they will seek legal redress. They will follow the due process, and nobody will take the law into their hands. So we will hope that they will leave the commitments they signed to in that Peace Pledge, and people will not just sign the Peace Pledge because they wanted to offer political correctness. And we have also seen that quite a number of results are doing the rounds on social media. And of course, as we all know, those results are not official. As I said, there is only one person that has the mandate to pronounce the outcome of an election, and that is the National Returning Officer. So we'll encourage everybody to be patient and wait for him to tell us what the verdict of the people is, and then all of us will move on towards the development of this country. Some of those results we are seeing on social media are clearly intended dissent, and I want our politicians to realize that they also have a responsibility to this country. All of us are supposed to do what we can to keep the peace and to ensure that we move this country forward. So we call on our constituents who are the political parties to continue to show the goodwill they have demonstrated so far throughout the campaign period. We had skirmishes here and there, but largely the campaign trail was peaceful. And of course, yesterday was absolutely peaceful. And we think that they will continue on that trajectory to continue to support and respect the wishes of the people. We also called conference to give you detailed information of our observations, and during that press conference, I think we will want to also do the same thing, calling our partners also to make statements and see how much we can do. The politicians to be tolerant and to be accommodating. I have always referred to Peter Obi. When he lost the election, we all know the promise he held. When they conducted, and almost everybody in Nigeria through their support. So when they came out otherwise, he didn't call his supporters to the street to wreak havoc. He took the legal path, and then by that way, he was able to save his country from chaos. So we will encourage all of our politicians to learn from that example. Leadership is about selflessness, and leadership is about selflessness. So we expect that our politicians will demonstrate this. I mean, the process has been peaceful so far, so let us continue to be peaceful and to promote the interests of our country. Thank you all. Thank you.
Coordinator for the Office of National Security.
Thank you, Director of Operations, ECSL. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm extremely happy to be part of this ECSL press briefing this afternoon. But first, I would want to thank and congratulate the people of Sierra Leone for their comportment in making the work of the security sector very easy. On the basis of security, I'm pleased to report that the general security situation in the country is within the entire country, in spite of the isolated incidences in some parts of the country. We have, as a country, honorably discharged the period in which it matters most, when the whole world is looking at us to see what Sierra Leone will look like during this period of elections. Prior to the conduct of the just concluded and multi-tier elections, the security sector had promised the people of Sierra Leone and the international partners that it will discharge its responsibility professionally to ensure the peace and security of the elections. We treated this in several fora, where when I did a press conference with the media, we met the international observers that indeed we are going to have a very peaceful election in this country. That is based on our preparedness. In the sector, we had actually prepared ourselves to ensure that we make sure the security of this country is peaceful, and that the people go about and vote, and nothing will happen to them. Though what the CSA was referring to, we have few isolated incidences, which maybe I may talk about that later. At this point, I am so elated by the professional performance of the security sector in ensuring maximum security throughout the voting. It is the responsibility of the security sector to protect our country and also be very happy to recognize the role of the men and women security forces and aides. Our security forces have done very well, and therefore I must congratulate them and recognize them at this point, because in such an election where we started, most people thought that Sierra Leone was going to burn. But prior to the campaigns and voting, I think as a sector, the people of this country cannot judge us that they have a security sector to look up to protect them, in spite of the incidences that happened during the voting, where ECSL officers were attacked, where other people were attacked based on rumors, because some of these things are rumors and perception, because people have perceptions and they do not trust the people that had created that kind of mayhem, where even people were supposed to be lighted, to be burnt. ECSL materials were destroyed. Some boxes were carted away by some individuals. But all of these incidences happened in just one part of the country, and that is the north and the northeast. Just one part of the country. You are all testimony to know how these things happened. Before this time, there were a lot of allegations that the Southeast would not allow polling agents to vote, or they were going to beat polling agents. But I'm sure the observers who went to the Southeast clearly showed that things happened very peacefully. So for those activities that had already taken place, the police is investigating, and they are far gone in the investigation. We are hoping that the culprits will be brought to book very shortly. Although it has been challenging, yet we have sailed through what could have been seen as a troubling period. Coordination at all levels was distinctly excellent. For this, I commend my colleagues in the security sector for their level of cooperation and collaboration, and encourage all of us to remain firmly focused on our respective mandates. So far, reports received from across the country indicate that our personnel carry out their functions dispassionately and professionally. We appreciate the ECSL fortitude in the midst of a number of technical challenges to live up to public expectations largely. I believe our domestic international observation missions may be reasonably satisfied with the output of our collective efforts. Equally, the significance of the role and the level of cooperation from all registered political parties during the electioneering process cannot be overemphasized, even though some overstep their boundaries. It is important to recognize that elections everywhere in the world are not devoid of disagreements. However, the focus on managing and containing our differences within acceptable legal boundaries is what is most important. There is always the procedure, the law. If you think you are aggrieved, you don't go to the street to do unlawful demonstrations. I would love to encourage everybody, when the results are read, if you think, go to the court. But when you choose the pattern of going to the streets, as a sector, we will not sit by and allow anybody to disturb the peace of this country. I have said that severally, and I'll continue to say that. Investigations into grave electoral infractions reported to the Sierra Leone police are at an advanced stage. Those who would eventually be found culpable, I repeat, will also be brought to book again. I would like to entreat all of us to remain patient until the ESL announces final results of the elections, and those who would win to celebrate modestly and within the confines of the law, while those who lose must respect the decision of the electorates. People must desist, especially political parties, from announcing results. It's only the CSL, the chairperson, that has that constitutional rule to announce results. We are standing by to ensure that anybody who attempts to announce before the ECSL announces their results, you also face the full penalty of the law, because it's a crime. And therefore, we will not sit to allow people to announce results, get their people in the streets. I'm using this medium to warn all those. I'm seeing some audios and videos coming out of somebody who are talking as if that they are going to announce results. As a sector, I'm warning those people who have those intentions to desist forthwith. Anyone who feels aggrieved should seek redress using the court of law. Anyone who feels aggrieved, I want to repeat this again. I want to repeat it so that people can understand clearly. Because we're not too far, maybe 48 hours from now, I don't know what may happen. So people who believe they are aggrieved must use the court of law. I'm emphasizing this because of good reasons. The areas that the ECSL mentioned that these people have been attacked, there are some critical areas which maybe these are very serious areas, like Tonkolili. In Tonkolili, they almost wanted to light the ECSL officer, to burn the ECSL officer. And the person who directed that is also a personality, which is not too good for our electoral process. The boxes were carted away. In Lungsha, the same thing happened. The ECSL people was destroyed and the individual beaten. The police officer was also beaten, the female police officer, and they were also beaten. You see, this is the area where sometimes people want to ask questions or say statements to say the police is being high-handed. I'm sure all of you can attest to the fact that this election went peacefully, hearing the sound of a bullet. Nobody was allowed to fire a bullet because this is a civil election. Is about civil business, and because it's a civil business, we wanted the police to take preeminence over it, the privacy. But irrespective of that, you have civilians who took upon themselves to be attacking the police officers, to be attacking ECSL officers. For us, that is most unfair to us. However, we requested them to exercise some patience in reacting. That is why you saw there was no tear gas, there was no bullets out there for anybody, because we thought this should be a civil process and everybody should take part. If there was bullets, some people have been scared to go out and vote. But the turnout was very high. In fact, to me, as this is one of the highest turnout in this country, the people who have high to vote, he says the chairperson said I should leave that to him. But because of those miscreants, those hooligans who thought they should take upon themselves to attack other people, that's unfortunate on the part of those, especially those political parties those people belong to. Moving forward, we have already pre-positioned ourselves at the tally centers to ensure that the tallies are done peacefully and results sent to the ECSL HQ. As I'm talking now, all of those areas, we have our security personnel. And we are also moved into the areas where they are where the polling took to support the ECSL to ensure that those ballot boxes are brought to the regions. That's currently being done. So as a sector, we are again appealing to everybody, as we have done before the voting, that we must cooperate with the security sector, work with us for us to go to the end of this process. We want to have and to see a peaceful conclusion of this process, announcements read, people jubilate, and let others join them to jubilate, because it is not going to be a one party. Everybody will be winning. It's not just one political party winning. Everybody, Sierra Leone will be winning. It is Sierra Leone. So take yourselves in all political parties that Sierra Leone will be winning and not a political party. And the security sector will remain with you to protect you and provide the enabling environment even after the elections. I want to thank you all.
Thank you very much, sir. At this point, we're going to take a few questions from the public, and Mr. Jones will coordinate and solutions.
Managers, one would see clearly semblance of lack of adequate security, especially for staff of the ECSL at these centers. Reports reaching me also indicate that a few protesters are standing outside the ECSL regional office in Makini with placards shouting, "No projection, no counting." Now, if we have seen attacks on staff at these centers, police stations, or say police center managers dragged, beating, all of the police, what security apparatus do we have to guarantee safe counting process? Thank you.
As much as journalists, to Mr. Commissioner, now we hear about projection of the police.
Can you please clarify the issue about
party, the political parties are asking for the results to be projected. Thank you very much.
First question is for the ONS coordinator. There were reports yesterday about firing gunshots at some polling stations. I want to know whether that was something you captured as part of your security updates, and whether people were arrested and how investigation is going. And secondly, Mr. Commissioner and National Returning Officer, when will the Commission start announcing the results of the elections? Thank you.
My question is for whether and can you confirm that there was no death yesterday?
Hi there, Portia Cranky. Mr. Kodak, can you confirm that there are party agents from all parties?
You don't? All right. Yeah, we can respond to these.
Published as a 2010 paper. Mr. Commissioner, at Police Center 1648, St. Anne's, polling could not take place yesterday. The allegation was the voting could not take place. I want to know if that is aware by the Commission or the ECSL. That's one. Two, also there are claims of gunshot yesterday at Bethel Center as well as Kaikili Center at the eastern part of Britain. Do you aware of that also? Thank you.
This question, my name is Patrick Salia and I work for the State Broadcaster, SLBC. My question is for the Office of National Security, National Security Coordinator. We just warned against premature announcement of results. Already, if you go through, I just asked the PPRC boss a short while ago, if you go through the official accounts of some of these political party officials and their cohorts as well, you realize that they are already claiming victory, landslide victory, for that matter. Landslide victory, and you just warned against those premature pronouncements because the figures may not have been there, but then claim landslide victory underscore that especially. How would the owners respond to those slips?
The first one from the SLBC Director General, he was asking about the lack of adequate security in some of the police stations, and that was maybe the reason why those attacks were done. I will categorically say no, it's not correct. There were security personnel in most of the police stations. Now, I have told you, election is a civil process. We have refrained from putting security personnel in those stations with lethal weapons that will scare off people. So what happened is, the general duty police officer was there, with other police officers, but they had no weapon. The ones that had weapons are far off. And here you are talking about a crowd of people, great mayhem. And all of these incidences that happen in this town and even all of the other areas, you had a crowd of people moving with maybe just few. And for this particular election, we used 17,000 in almost all of the police stations in the entire country. We had the RSLF there to support the SLP, but at a far distance, over 300 meters off. Because that's the law. You should not go closer to the police station. So all of these things that happened, it happened because we wanted it to be a civil business, a civil affair. All of it could now be lessons learned moving forward. But it was not because of lack of security that these people were attacked. In most cases, the attack took place even spontaneously. You know, where they were, for instance, where they had a mismatch of a voter register, they want to take that voter register to go and bring a new one. The crowd became agitated. They thought people were going to cheat. They thought people were going to do. You know, people are suspicious of everything. That's just a figment of imagination that these people want to do this and that. All of those things, that's some of these, the attacks in some of these areas. Okay. But I will categorically say that we have security all over, everywhere. The people can attest to that there were security presence everywhere. The other one, somebody used to gunshots. Say whether they had gunshots. I don't know whether they were gunshots, really. I never heard about gunshots. Because for some of these things, we have a national situation room. It should be reported if there are gunshots. So for me, there were no gunshots. I had no gunshots. There was somebody asked for me to confirm whether there was death. Yes, there was. Yesterday, there was no death. No death occurred. But just this morning, the fellow who was attacked in Tonkolili, alongside with another person, I was informed that he died just this morning. Before coming here, I got that information. He was mercilessly beaten by the attackers just this morning, you know. The claims of counter claims for the announcement of results. The one you are seeing, I'm also looking at, some of them are posted on social media. Some of them are there. For me, we look at social media, we monitor social media, but we'll react to them. When you practically want to do what we said you should not do, that is where we can come in. All right? Because sometimes people make statements, and then when you go to their WhatsApp page, they will tell you, somebody else has used my WhatsApp page. You know, so there is nobody to compare whether somebody else or somebody used their or it is who did the thing. So for us in the sector, we will continue to warn people. Yes, they have a right to put it in there if they want to put it in their WhatsApp pages, but they should not announce results. Nobody should announce results. The one you are putting out, those people you are putting out, that is left to you, because the figures you are putting there may not be even correct. You know, it's a question of announcement. Like when I saw one audio, somebody say he wants to organize a press conference. Nobody is going to organize press conference in this country to announce results. We'll not even allow you to do that. The moment we know you're organizing a press conference, we'll make sure nobody sits in that room. Nobody sits there in that room. So, Patrick, I want to assure you that the question of premature announcement, let's wait and see. We have warned people, and even before the election, we advise people also not to go to the streets. When you vote, go home. Yesterday, we are everywhere trying to talk to people. All of these areas they are talking about where this crisis took place, we visited all of that places yesterday. Myself and the team, the IG, the CDS, and our other colleagues. Even at St. Anne's. I was at St. Anne's yesterday up to 11 o'clock. We had to let the people vote. We don't allow them to say you have to vote. We allowed them to vote yesterday. There was some problem, but we had to, that was amended. You know.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you. You know, when the security personality is talking, you see, it talks, you know, with force, so that everybody will understand what that means. For us in the electoral space, we talk slowly, but firmly, and assure the public that everything will be fine. Before I respond to the questions, let me recognize again my brothers on my right. These are all electoral management, head of electoral management institutions in respective countries. I have here the chair here, for Electoral Commission for Tanzania, the chair for a commission from Burkina Faso, and the chair from Malawi. He, in particular, was here. He started the review of the Public Elections Act 2022. He did the first review and made recommendations. The one from Justice Kachali from Malawi. He developed most of the policies that we have based on the recommendations of the 2018 elections that led to the enactment of the Elections Act 2022. They also have accompanying commissioners from these countries. They are here to support me, not to everybody, just me. And we also have our sister, the chair from Liberia. She's right there. To thank you. Some of you might be planning to return, and you came, you saw, and you will go in peace. But be rest assured, your presence here gave me a lot of confidence as learning and supporting mission. I appreciate your coming. Thank you. And I also want to recognize our brother Sano of his salon or his Sierra Leone. He brought the idea of having a medical center or a clinic just at this center, just in case anybody, you know, collapse or any medical issues. So even if you want to check your blood pressure, we have the nurses just across. So thank you so much, Sano, and your organization for that wonderful support. These are all initiatives that we think we've added to this process to make it more, you know, just like fun. I usually say when I go to observe other elections, we have moved into electoral tourism. And that was the reason we brought everything at this end, so that at least our visitors will contribute to our GDP for this 1 week or 5 days. Thank you all for coming from for our international partners. So let me go to the questions. I will add to the question by the director of SLBC relating to the security of the Tale centers, in addition to what the coordinator provided. We have received some stress call from our staff, just like what you read there, and we have contacted the security sector. They have increased the deployments, especially in Bombali, at our Bombali office. So they are there. That question relates to this issue of projection. I think for the past 2 weeks, we have been bashed for using technology. People are asking us to to project results. I think projecting results are all part of technology. So that's contradictory anyway. However, we did not plan to project the tally of the results as they process. I know people are referencing what we have been doing during the by-elections, when we only have one station to manage, one few stations to manage and one election since I came in. But for this magnitude of result that we have to process within a given time, it is practically impossible to have projector that we provide the entry of the results of 8 or so personnel who are entering at different times. What we had promised before, and they know the procedure, that we will print out the results, which will be certified by the district returning officers, and we'll give them copies of the results. And they are there. I can also confirm that all political parties are present at our tally centers. We give them allowances of 2 political party agents or observers to be present at the tally center. They are all there watching from my CCTV. I can see even international observers are also there. AYV, I saw AYV as well, and some other media houses. So the process is very much transparent, and people are enjoying the process. I also want to inform the public the ballot boxes are still at some locations which they are retrieving to the district offices. I was particularly reminded about this from my director of operation because of the experience he had. I think, was it 2012? He was mobbed very seriously. After the poll, the following day, he went to retrieve ballot boxes with some materials, and they thought that was the ballots, special ballots, stopped with ballot papers, and he was saved by the police. So I just want to use this media to inform the public our staff are still retrieving materials from the field. Results, I'm sure all results are now at the district offices, and staff are moving with them to the regional center. Please don't see any of our staff carrying a ballot box and you start shouting that they are carrying stop ballot boxes. Please. So as I mentioned, we are not doing of the tally as the process results. Announcements of results, provisional, you say, or interim results. I will come back to that. I have to go back to my staff to know the extent to which they have tallied results. And once we get reasonable percentage, we'll call press briefing to announce what we have gathered so far. And we really want to expedite the process. And we want to see how best we can do that so that the politicians who are already claiming victory, I'm asking them to wait, because what we have received is not official. You want to appeal to your political supporters, but please wait. The Constitution gives me that mandate. At least this one few days, let enjoy and small. Of course, St. Anne Police Station, it's not true voting did not take place. It took place. That's the station I read from my statement. Polls ended, voting ended at poll at 11:30 yesterday, and the ballots were counted, and they will form part of the results. Yeah? We had series of issues from one problem to another, to the extent our staff, the temporary staff or the hard work staff left the station, one of the stations. We had about 7 stations. 6 went on, and the last one, there was nobody. So I have to pull my directors to go there and supervise the voting. So we were able to conclude that. Of course, parties claiming victory, we have told them they don't have the power to crown themselves. And if they had that power, they should have done that long ago without even going to the polls. So let them wait. We'll give them the figures. Any other question? One more set, please.
Abraham Bright, my name, Executive Director of Citizens Lux Rebellion, a civil society. This goes to the Chief Electoral Commissioners. My observation is why they are moving these boxes to another census. You have any representative from every political party that will move together with those people? That's my question.
Good afternoon all. My name is Marcos Bangura, the managing editor for C4D Media newspaper. This election has been accompanied with huge lots of suspicion and distrust. And this has led to a lot of problems. During the day, that is yesterday, there have been a lot and lots of delays on the distribution of electoral materials that gave rise to suspicion and distrust. Don't you think if you had put things in place to take those materials on time, a lot of people could not have developed that suspicion and distrust that led to the attack on ECSL officials?
Thank you. I'm Tijan Jallo, and I represent the Times SL newspaper. During our visit yesterday in most of the polling centers, there were concerns raised by electorates, voters themselves. One has to do with the presence of political parties members who are not supposed to be in those areas. There were concerns of politicians holding pistols, intimidating voters not to go and vote. We had that issue at Loradov School. There was a vehicle with registration number A285, and there were ballot papers in that vehicle. Members of the public had to intervene, and the issue brought to the attention of the Ross Road Police Station. They engaged the LUC on that one. Also at Lower Savage Square, there was an issue. Members of the public had to walk in to intimidate some of the ESL staffs who were there. When we interviewed the ESL staff, told us what politicians went there to interrupt the process while they were doing counting. So I had to take upon myself to call the LUC to send security officers to go and manage the area. Lower Savage Square. Lower Savage Square, yes. That was also an issue. And just like what said Marcos Bang, most of the concern raised by people were distrust and suspicious as a result of the delay in the transport of election materials. Like for Amaraya School, when there yesterday, there was an issue of delay in voting process. Voting did not start till after 2 p.m. We were there, and there was high military presence. And to the security sector, what we saw yesterday was a kind of professionalism by the military, the police, and other security apparatus. Because even when media practitioners go into those centers, we were accorded, we were accommodated to visit each stations and centers with our identification. We were not intimidated. We are allowed to take photos and other things with exceptional cases. We are gunshots, we are fire.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Mariam Saeed, Hands of Hope Radio. So yesterday there was an incident at Allentown, Faith in Christ Primary School. One of the ECSL staffs, I think it was the PO in Station 8, I don't know how to call it, the ink was dried, so one of the voters volunteered that I get dry ink na me lago kautam, like the blue the blue that they used to wash clothes. So he allowed the guy to go and take the blue ink and brought it. So when they came with the ink and they were trying to mix the ink, one of the opposition party members, the agents that were there, saw the incident, and then he caused an alarm wherein stating that there was some going on. So before the whole incident happened, when the EC staff saw that the ink went out of hand, he threw the ink behind the window of the classroom, which led to the guy being almost beaten up, but then they couldn't get access to him. They took him to Allentown Police Station. In that case, I want to ask, how are you guys going to help this particular voter that tried to help the ECSL staff that knew very well that he shouldn't have asked the voter to bring the blue ink to help him to mix it? How are you guys going to help this particular individual in that police station?
Thank you very much. Sheikh Mustafa Bawo, Global Times. Now we don't know when the results will be announced. It is possible for us to know what percentage of the tallying that has been done.
Moha is the name. I work Standard Times newspaper.
There are so many of us. Don't get jealous. Go ahead.
Okay. From the incident that has happened yesterday, I want to know if there have been any arrests since yesterday. How many arrests have been made to the ONS here? And again, you talk about people not to announce results. But if somebody goes on social media and announces that we've won A, B, C, and D, how do you describe that? Because you are talking about those announcements put on social media are not your business. But how do you respond to that? If somebody goes on social media, put an audio announcing the result, how do you respond to that?
Okay, I think one more. We have to come to the end of this press briefing, yeah? We have a lady.
Fodi Moyoba Conte, I write for the Calabash newspaper. National coordinator, you keep saying that there were adequate security personnel in all of the polling stations. But according to the Independent Commission for Peace and National Cohesion reports, they said that some of the reports received by the commission was the aspect of inadequate security personnel in the polling station. And the Group 7G, again, Observer Mission, few hours ago in their press statement also made mention of inadequate security personnel in some polling stations. So I would like to know on what grounds do you stand to say there were adequate security personnel in all of the polling stations. And secondly, the commission also observed that there are several emerging post-election tensions across the country. How do you intend to handle such kind of cases?
Okay. This is the last set of responses we have. We have subsequent press briefing. Political parties are not accredited to accompany the ballot boxes with used ballot papers. The votes were counted in their presence and the results were taken to the district or regional centers. I don't think even the politicians are interested in what is in there. All they are interested in is what was entered into, what were entered on the result reconciliation forms. So that information will just warn the public that our work, our staff are still mobilizing materials. So that will not be misconstrued. Delays and anger. We have over 11,000 polling stations, or 3,630 centers. I've highlighted here not more than 20 centers or stations. So it means Sierra Leone, greater majority, 90% of the centers or stations were open on time. In the Western Urban, Western Rural, we had no issues. Western Urban, we had some issues in terms of delivery of materials because some of the staff abandoned their posts. Some of them left the materials at the warehouse. Some of them carry away boxes without their covers, printed the voter register, and went through 3 steps of quality checks. This voter registers were packed a week ago, station by station, and we packed them in a separate bag for them just to carry, to take them to the centers. And some of these staff, when they arrive at the station, they will not come back to say, there's a problem, this item is not available. We have to check until the public, the voters, were actually the ones, some of them were calling us. So that's the problem. We recruited 92,000 staff, and we cannot control all of them. We cannot profile all of them. As they say, they are always a bad apple among a dozen. So that is the situation, that's the story. But generally across the country, the polls were open on time. But we have identified those staff, and some of them we are going to blacklist them from our future recruitment. We'll take the necessary actions against them. For instance, Western Rural, we have about 424 centers. So if we were able to manage to open 400 on time, the 24, at least we can get a pass mark. Thank you so much. I think, young lady, your concern is very much in place. We had requested every citizen to be part of this process. But I think sometimes, because of the pressure on work, the easiest probably the staff should have done to explain this to the political party agents, that we have this constraint and somebody has volunteered, before using. Yeah? So hopefully we have noted that and to be part of the discussions, post-election issues we address in future trainings. Thank you so much. The issue of when Kamobao will come to the public by end of the day if we are going to call any interim results. The tallying started at 10 o'clock, so our guys are still working. I have to go back there and see, analyze the situation. They will alert you. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much. That's the end of the press conference.
Hey. Oh, you don't know? Yeah. No, go ahead.
Okay. Let me just answer these questions. The first question he asked, it was whether we are arresting people. Yes, we have started arresting people and we have started investigating. And what about those who are posting on social media? Yes, if you post something on social media and we think also it's a recipe for crisis, we can bring it for questioning. That can be done. Somebody was asking about adequate security. Of course, there's adequate security everywhere because we have prepared for this election. All right? Thank you very much.
All right.